The story continues with our trio of devils at the occult club, where Riaz decides it's time for Issei and Asha to get their own servant familiars. However, Shitoru Sona, the school's student body president, and her council appear where it's revealed that they too are devils and demons of another faction. Since only one group is allowed to enter the world of familiars per month, the two factions decide to compete in sports to see who gets to go first. Nevertheless, they begin with a normal tennis match where all the boys gawk over the girls, yet the match heats up as Riaz and Sona begin to use their magic to enhance their moves. As such, they end up destroying much of the equipment, leading to a draw. Thus, they decide to settle the draw with a dodgeball match poised for the next night. As night falls, the groups convene at the gym and start an epic match of dodgeball. With magic finally unleashed, clothes get destroyed and flexibility is all over the court. Eventually, Issei gets injured, so the group decide to avenge him, where they bring home the favor of victory to the Occult Research Club. As winners, they head to get their familiars under the guise of the full moon. There, they meet the familiar master, the Taoji, who first shows them a Giga Chad familiar, much to Issei's displeasure. Regardless, they continue on in the woods, where they encounter an extremely rare sprite dragon. Suddenly, a slime spews out goo and starts destroying clothes, causing Issei to want to make the slime his familiar and uses Asha to protect it. Unfortunately, he gets knocked out by the sprite dragon, who has taken a liking to Asha, allowing her to form a pact with the dragon, which she promptly names Rasei. Afterwards, as the day ends, Riaz notes that Issei still has a long way to go. While in a dream, Issei finds himself getting married to Riaz, much to his surprise. However, right before he's about to kiss Riaz, his inner dragon begins to speak to him, wanting to say hello to the partner who he will be fighting alongside with. Back at school, Matsuda and Motohama asks if his dream was of the sexy time type, which Issei denies. They then ask Issei to help introduce them to some girls, but the trio ends up seeking their favorite pastime, so they hide inside the girls' locker room. Unfortunately, Kaneko finds them and proceeds to punish Issei for his acts. Back at the occult club, as Issei gets healed, Asha and Riaz tell him that he doesn't have to go through all that trouble, since they can easily help him out with what he wants to see. Meanwhile, Akinum notes that although Issei has failed to get any packs, he still ended up pleasing all of his clients that he was summoned to. After school, Issei accidentally encounters Asha in the shower, where she confesses she has a desire to have a deeper relationship with him. Afterwards, in his room, a magic circle suddenly appears and Riaz shows up, begging him to quickly take her special flower. However, before they could do so, they get interrupted by Graphia Lucifuge, the wife and queen of Riaz's brother, Surzex Lucifer, who initially mocks Issei as a lowborn, but Riaz is quick to defend him. Riaz then gives him a kiss and apologizes before heading out. The next day, Issei and the group are introduced to Riser Phoenix, a pure-blooded upper-class devil, who's to be engaged to Riaz, but she refuses to marry him. Graphia then announces that if Riaz insists on not marrying Lord Riser, then they may settle the issue with a rating game, a chess-like match where servants compete in battle. However, Riser mocks Issei's dream of having a harem, leading to him having one of her pieces hit Issei in the stomach. In response, the Gremory and the Phoenix clans organize a ratings game. As such, Riaz agreed to fight against Riser in 10 days' time. In the meantime, Issei begins to train in an isolated area under Riaz's supervision as they prepare for the rating game. However, Issei fails in each lesson from everyone and is greatly discouraged. First, he loses to Kiba in sword fighting, then he loses to Akino and Asha in manipulating magic, and finally he loses to Kaneko and gets beaten badly as a result. However, in Lesson 4, he creates a power through visualizing the chests of his intended victims. That night, Issei, in a waterfall mausoleum, tells Riaz that he admires her as the best mentor for him. However, he admits that he isn't useful for her and considers himself as the most useless devil of all. He laments that he has always caused her trouble and claims that even though he possesses a sacred gear, it's useless if he is unable to fully use it, and considers himself a total failure for her and starts crying. Riaz then figures out that he indeed lacks self-confidence, so she promises him to give him some self-confidence. She afterwards orders him to rest for tonight until he is fully capable again. The next morning, he starts training by using his sacred gear. After boosting 12 times, he creates an aura of energy around himself and throws a powerful beam of red light towards Kiba, which destroys a nearby mountain. Although he quickly tires himself out, Riaz, remembering his quotes about how he admired her the way she is, starts to grow affections for him. 1 hour before the match starts, Issei readies himself for battle as he tells Asha that they will always be together. At the occult club, Riaz explains that the rating game is being relayed to the members of both houses, where Sona has volunteered to help broadcast. Graphia then reveals that the great devil Lucifer himself will be watching as well. The group then enters a magic circle, where they get transported to a battlefield, which is coincidentally a replica of Ku Academy. Graphia, now the referee, explains that Ria's home base is in the Occult Research Club room, while Riser's will be the principal's office. As such, pawns will be able to promote if they are able to reach the opposing home base. Kaneko then hands out magical earpieces to use as communication as the game starts. The group then use a map to strategically plan their method of attack. As everyone heads off on their mission, Ria quickly tasks Issei to lay on her lap, causing him to have tears of joy as Asha watches. Ria then explains to Issei that she released some of his locked power and orders him to not hold back against girls. Regardless, Issei's and Kaneko's first opponent includes a Chun-Li lookalike and a couple pawns. Outnumbered, Issei begins to run away until he hits some buttocks and uses his signature dress breaker move. Meanwhile, Akino, the Thunder Princess, utterly wipes out an important foothold. Suddenly, Kaneko is knocked out by Riser's queen. Kaneko then screams in pain as she disappears, causing Issei to angrily challenge Riser's queen, but Akino intervenes and tells him that she'll avenge Kaneko. Meanwhile, Keba reveals that he has dispatched 3 pieces, making the current remaining servants 9-5 in Riser's favor. Ria then plans to launch a sneak attack on their base with Asha, so Kiba and Issei taunt the Knight of Lord Riser to come out, revealing her name as Carlamine. As the two knights battle, Issei begins to be surrounded by girls. Unfortunately, they're hostile. One of the girls turns out to be Riser's sister and bishop, making his harem very sussy. Nevertheless, Issei starts getting pounded by the knight Isabella, causing him to use dress break, and he finishes her off with dragon shot. Meanwhile, Riser has anticipated that Ria's would go for a sneak attack, leading to an earlier than planned battle between the heirs of the houses. As such, Issei's boosted gear evolves due to his emotions, allowing him to absorb Kiba's full power and transfers it into a massive, widespread magical attack, destroying the rest of Riser's pieces except Ravel, his sister. Meanwhile, Akino and Kiba both perish due to the Phoenix clan's hidden treasure that can completely heal any injury instantly. Suddenly, Issei promotes upon entering the enemy headquarters, allowing him to head to the rooftop to assist Riaz and Asha. Riser's queen, Yubaluna, launches a direct attack which causes Asha to get knocked out. As Issei continues to boost his power, his body begins to fail him. As he gets up once again, Riser begins to destroy him, where he is unable to fight back. Right before Issei is fully ended, Riaz resigns to save him. When Issei wakes up, finding himself passed out on his own bed after the raiding game against Riser and his peerage, he blames himself, knowing that it was his powerlessness that forced Riaz to resign. Soon after, Graphia, the ultimate queen, arrives in his home and gives Issei a magic circle that will allow him to attend the Gremory Phoenix engagement party in the underworld. When Issei arrives at the designated area and blatantly crashes the party, Surzex interferes, offering arbitration terms to settle the dispute by hosting a one-on-one battle between Riser and Issei, with Ria's engagement on the line. However, when the battle begins, it is shown that Issei traded his left arm to the dragon that resides within him in exchange for extreme power that will only last for 10 seconds. As such, Issei is able to overpower Riser with his newfound power, but is unable to defeat or deal him critical damage. Moment where Riaz tells Issei's parents that she plans to move in with him.